All right, you guys, welcome to episode 2 of the YouTube Fitness Podcast. I am here with BlackDog Fitness. If you don't know who he is a powerlifter, has a meet in August, and I'm going to take over the reins to him, let him talk about himself, be all selfish and such, so go ahead and take it away.
All right, so I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Riley DeVoe. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and yes, as Nick said, I am a powerlifter. I actually just competed in a bodybuilding competition, wow, like five months ago now. It's crazy. But it seems like it was literally just yesterday. Nice. But yeah, so I run a YouTube channel. It is just BlackDog Fitness, if you look it up, as well as an Instagram account, at BlackDog Fitness. I'm sure I'll plug that all later, but I mean, that's what I do. I'm not an overly interesting guy on a bodybuilder, and I'm a YouTuber.
No, you are a very, very interesting guy, so don't say that. And we're gonna kind of dig deep into different things and kind of just, get through and see what Riley's all about here. So Riley, before all of YouTube and everything like that, take me up until the point before you picked up this thing we call a camera and started walking around like this, vlogging and everything like that. Who was the Riley before the camera?
I mean, wow, where do you want me to start? Back in, I grew up as like the chubby kid. I was the really overweight child who was just like, I had a lot of health issues. Like growing up, I had really bad asthma, and I had a lot of stuff wrong with me there. So I was in the hospital, in and out of the hospital a lot for different lung disorders and stuff like that. And that kind of pushed me into, like, I couldn't play sports because I couldn't breathe, like, on my own. I had to take a puffer, I had to do all this stuff, I had to go in for surgeries and stuff, which is actually kind of ironic because right now as I'm telling this, I have bronchitis, but so I apologize for that.
No worries.
I basically couldn't play sports, so I ended up just eating and gaining a lot of weight. So I ended up going into grade 8, being about 250, 240 pounds-ish, so I was a pretty big kid. But all of a sudden, I got my tonsils out when I was about 14, and my asthma disappeared. So as it turns out, that was a huge part of it. My tonsils were actually so swollen, they were blocking off my airways, which was causing me to have asthma, and I actually couldn't breathe. So when they took them out, I was able to play sports. So I went to play rugby and lacrosse, and immediately I dropped like 40 pounds.
Wow.
So all of a sudden, going into grade 9, I'm about 200 pounds. I feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot better. And that's where I found working out. And now working out when I was 15, 16 was literally me going to the gym, doing curls and chest press for like 5 sets of 3. And that was my entire workout. And then I'd maybe do some cardio if I was feeling, energized that day or whatever. So yeah. Going on from that, all through high school, I had an Instagram account where I would kind of keep track of my lifts and keep track of stuff like that. Started to get a little bit more serious into powerlifting and all that stuff. And then it wasn't until I actually moved out that I really found fitness YouTube. And I mean, I came in a little bit after the boom, you know what I mean? Like the August, the Scooby, all that. I was after that. I started watching, and I was watching Lex, and I was watching Christian, and I was watching, actually Travis was one of the first channels.
Travis, if you're watching this, Travis, we're gonna see you soon on the show.
Travis is my boy now. I mean, like, that's crazy to me because he was literally one of the first people I ever started watching, and now we've hung out at expos twice, and like, he's just a great dude. And he was like, man, just start a channel. He was like, why not? I was like, he's like, literally, what do you have to lose? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't have anything to lose. So my first thing I filmed was on my iPad. I filmed a little intro video. I think it's still up on my channel if I haven't deleted it. It's the worst video in the world. It's so funny. I still go back and watch it sometimes. And then I started filming on my iPhone, and then eventually, I upgraded the camera, and here we are. I've been on YouTube now for 2 years almost.
Wow.
I've been trying to build myself up a little bit. I've been to a bunch of expos, and I've met a lot of cool people. It's wild, man. Like, it's wild.
It's a lot of people. It's so cool to go to these expos because I've had the opportunity to meet you in LA and then in Ohio again, which is awesome. And I want to take a step back. So you came in after the boom, and Travis convinced you to start this channel. What was the biggest hurdle you had to starting that channel, and how old are you? How old are you now, just to give people perspective?
All right, so I'm 20. I started my channel. I had just turned 18.
Just graduated high school?
Sorry, I had not turned 18 yet. I had just graduated high school.
Okay.
The previous year. I was 18 when I graduated high school. I had just graduated the previous year, and it was the year that I decided to take off from school, and I wasn't doing anything. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't going to college. I wasn't going to I wasn't doing anything like that. I was just working, and I needed something to do, and all I was doing was fitness. So I was like, what am I going to do? So the the November of what is it now, 2016?
Yeah.
The November of 2014, I started filming, and again, I started with just my iPhone and all that, and then my first ever series I started right there was Jingle Bulk, and it was because I was bulking like straight up, like hardcore bulking. I was like 205 pounds, which is the heaviest I had been since I started working out.
Mm-hmm.
I was strong as all hell. Like, I mean, for me, I was 18. I had just started powerlifting. I'd have a 500-pound deadlift. I had a 300-pound bench and a mid-4 squat. And I mean, that was after like 6 months of powerlifting. And
That's awesome.
Man, it was so much fun. And I was just like, okay, so I'm okay at this. Like, I'm a decent lifter. What do I want to do now? So then right after Christmas and all that, I was like, all right, I want to cut. So I was like, I'm a little chubby, whatever. Like, let's get shredded. So I was like, okay. So then I started cutting, and then I found my coaches who I worked with on Insta. I met them through Instagram, which was interesting, but I'm not going to plug them just because we're not together anymore. I'm now working with Paul Ravella of Pro Physiques, who you guys should know if you don't.
We'll plug him.
The whole Lane Norton friendship thing over there, they're all together. So basically what I did is I worked with them, and I decided I wanted to do a show. So that was my big thing. That's where my whole channel kind of came from, is like I started a prep series. So I was like, okay, I'm going to prep for this bodybuilding show. I'm going to get really lean, really shredded. And I did. But I got really weak. Like, I went down probably 40 pounds, and I was like 160 pounds on stage. I mean, I was pretty diced, but I just felt terrible. And I was like, something must have went wrong. I must have did something wrong. So the whole time after that, I was like, I got to figure this out. Turns out I didn't really do anything wrong. That's just kind of how you feel on prep. Yeah. But, you know, in my head, I had never been lean before, so I didn't know that.
So this is from about, roughly like January 2015 to April?
To like January 2015 is when I like started to drop into a deficit, and then I competed November 2015.
Okay. All right, so you definitely gave yourself a lot of time to...
Yeah, like I was heavy, man. Like I was like I said, I was 205, and I had to be contest lean. Like I lost like 40 pounds. So like I pretty much cut for like 9 months.
Yeah.
Like,
it's better than, you know, like trying to drop it real quick and, you know, a slow cut. So what was, you know, starting out, you know, you know, a prep just in general, but starting out your channel, what was the biggest piece of advice that you had been given to say, hey, this is what you need to do to, you know, start a YouTube channel? What you know, is it get this nice camera, or is it get this editing software? What was the biggest?
It was actually the first thing that I got that was told to me was be consistent. That was it. They were like, be consistent and people will come. And when I started, that was kind of still true. I think that now you really need to have a niche. You need to have something that nobody else does. That, like, for example, you do the podcast, okay? That's a niche, man. Nobody does that. Like, other than Mark Bell, nobody does the podcast. So, like, that's a niche. But, like, I didn't have a niche. I'm just another 20-year-old white kid who lifts. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so when I started, it was like, okay, as long as I make videos consistently, people will come and watch. And they did. And that's just the way it was. But when people start, it's like, when people ask me for advice, I'm like, okay, have a niche, and right out of the bat, come out with some quality editing. Like, get your content perfect. Because, like, as much as I want to be able to tell people, like, pick up an iPhone and start filming, nobody wants to watch that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing it properly out of the gate. Like, you've got the nice camera, you've got the nice editing, and you're coming out with something new. Whereas people now who are starting and they're just filming themselves on their iPhone, they won't take off because it's so oversaturated now that it's just not going to happen. You have to come out the gate firing.
I was talking to Colossus Fitness on the last episode, which I'll link down below, and what we were talking about was, you know, you have to have that thing to you, because you know, it's one thing for everybody else to, you know, walk around with a camera, but for some weird reason, people, like, I don't get it, and I was raised in a certain way and everything, and stuff I've been reading, and like, people think something is owed to them when they start. Hey, you know, I've been doing this for so long, I should have this, and it unfortunately it doesn't work like that. Do you see the same thing when, like, people come up to you, or when you talk to people at expos, or people maybe message you on Instagram and say, hey, why isn't this working for me, or what can I be doing better?
Yeah, I think that, like, I'm gonna admit, like I said, I'm just another 20-year-old white kid with a camera. I mean, I'm nothing special. People like to watch me because I'm real, and I talk to the camera the way that I talk to people in real life. And only reason that I'm really even known a little bit, and I'm talking like a little bit, like I have a very small following in the wide spectrum of things, is because Travis decided to be like, hey, this guy's pretty cool. He's making some sweet content. Go check him out. And like other people are like, well, how did you take off? And I'm like, honestly, Travis decided to shout me out. Like, really, like, do I have the content to back it up? Because you can get a shout out all you want. If you don't have the content to back it up, nobody's going to stick around.
Yeah.
So I like to think that I have the content to back it up. But without that initial shout out, I really wouldn't be climbing at the rate that I was climbing at. And I think that's another thing is like people who don't make friendships in this business don't grow as fast because they're like, oh, well, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm vlogging every day. I'm editing all my videos, but like no one cares who I am or nobody knows who I am. It's like maybe put a little less effort into that. Like if you're uploading every single day, maybe like go meet people, go network with people, because that's really where you grow is you meet other people who actually, I'm not saying go and bug the big channels and be like, oh, hey, Lex, you want to give me a shout out? Because it's not going to work like that. But if you're a genuine person and you're not looking for shout outs and you're just being like nice, people tend to want to help you out a little bit more than if you just walk in and be like, hey, I've been doing this for 3 weeks and like I don't have 1,000 followers, so like, yeah, you want to show me out? Like, like,
yes, and it's funny you say that because when I'll use myself as an example and connect it with you is when I first decided to take the plunge and be like, hey, I want to do this, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing the podcast, and it's to network with people, and I think it's a perfect advantage to take advantage of that, and also to build your circle and learn. And I want to make this the same platform for everybody else. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go to the Olympia and see what happens. And I was actually convinced by someone to go, and she was like, yeah, let's go, and let's see what happens. Shout out to Hannah McCrite for like really starting this, because like this would have never transpired into what it is now. But
shout out to Hannah McRae for just being a bomb person all around, because she's awesome.
She's awesome. She's starting her cut right now, and she's gonna kill it in whatever she does.
She's gonna kill that. Yeah, she's gonna kill it.
And so like networking is like the big thing, and I think everyone sees what everybody else is doing, and it's like, okay, they're not. I think up here they're not putting any money into it. No, like if you want to succeed at what you have to do, you got to spend a little. You just took a trip to Ohio for the Arnold. You took a trip to LA for the LA Fit. Same here, and it's like you got to be able to leverage your network. And I think you hit the nail on the head with networking is the biggest thing. So like amongst Travis and others, who have been the biggest influences on you to leverage your network and use that to move forward?
I think that this is gonna sound weird if you've never seen this video. There's a video between Sean Thompson TV and Lex Griffin that they're talking about networking. And I remember I was working my day job 2 years ago. I just started my channel, and they were saying you have to make friends in this industry, because if you don't make friends in this industry, you're floundering. You don't know anybody, you're not gonna succeed. And I 100% agree with that, because it's like I said, like Travis and Christ, who else is even. Like, I can't even. I'm gonna miss somebody, and it's gonna piss me off. So I'm just gonna stick with Travis because everybody knows that.
And I'll link that Lex and Sean video down below so people can watch that.
I did honestly link it because I think that they went about it perfectly, and even Sean went about it perfectly before he disappeared from YouTube. Like, they were great, man, and like the way that they networked, like they were like, okay, we're gonna meet this person and we're gonna do a collab with them, and then that video will grow, and then that will bring more to our channel and her channel, and it'll be like mutually beneficial. And that was really the thing that got me like thinking, being like, hey, if I go to these expos and I meet people and they maybe they like me as a person, you know what I mean? Maybe it's not even, don't even make it about YouTube. Let's just make friends in this industry. Yes. And then like, it just grows naturally from there. And I think that's the big thing. Like, yeah, you could go and pester a big channel and get a shout out and gain 10,000 followers overnight. You could, but it's not natural. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I think that I like the way that my channel is growing, because it's growing slowly, but it's growing naturally. And people who are seeing me are loyal to me. And like, when they come on my channel, it's not just, okay, I have 3,000 subscribers, but I have 100 views and 10 likes. It's like, no, I have like 800 views and like a lot of likes, because people like my content. And that's really what it boils down to. It's like, if people like your content, they're going to want to watch you. You just have to get that little bit of exposure to get the ball rolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it's that little push from someone that like, kind of like, when you get that, let's say when you get that first shout out, it's like, okay, like I kind of finally got something, I want to move forward with it. But it's making friends in the right space to then, bolster that growth, because So for example, meeting you in LA has now led to this.
Exactly.
I mean, if I had never met you in LA, would I probably gotten you on here eventually? But I feel like the relationship we've had up until this point, and from networking and talking about stuff and hanging out, has made our friendship and the relationship between YouTube and all that fun stuff better than it was before.
And it definitely makes it easier to do stuff like this once you've actually met in person, because like you can meet people through YouTube and it's cool because you have these friends that you know through social media. But going through like to expos and stuff makes it so much more real and concrete that it's so much easier to just be like, hey, do you want to be on the podcast? Like, you know what I mean? Like you came up to me and you're just like, this is what I'm doing. This is my idea. And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to be a part of it. Like if you had texted me, it would have been the same. I would have still been like, yeah, I want to be a part of it. But you know what I mean? Now that we had that face-to-face interaction, it's just so much cooler to be like, oh, now I remember this idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes so much more sense. So let's get back on the YouTube train.
Yeah,
quick. So November 2015, you competed your show. So take us out of post competition and leading up to LA, pretty much. So what happened from November 2015 to January 2016?
Well, I got fat first of all. Oh no, but basically what happened is I was so lean going into the show that. And actually it's funny because people call me out for not being as lean as I was, but like because I was so big when I was younger, I have like loose skin, and not to the point where like O2B, like I'm not like bright, like like John has some crazy loose skin, and we've talked about that before, but like it's still there, and it still makes me look less lean than I should. So it's a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. So like I was lean, and like coming out of that, I had such a like destroyed mindset, if you want to call it that, and like I was sick, my hormones were screwed up, like I was just brutal. So I just started eating, and I mean, like, dude, I can eat. Like if anybody has seen me eat or been with me at like expos and stuff, like I can eat, and like I just gained like 30 pounds post show, and it was brutal. And I was just like, all right, I gotta slow this down. So basically I blew up to like 200 pounds, and I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? So I was like, coming into LA, I was going at like 190, and I was like I don't really, oh shit, I just lost my light. I'm gonna turn this, hang on. And I was like, what am I gonna do? So I was coming out of being, like I said, stage lean, and going into LA, I was going into like 190. So I didn't really know what I want to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go straight into powerlifting and bulk up to 205, or if I wanted to cut down again and sort of compete at around 180, because I'm not comfortable at 205. I just feel really fluffy and like, I don't know, like just I'm not comfortable walking around at that weight. So LA, I was a little bit kind of being cautious about what I was eating and not being, stupid and all that stuff. And then I was like, okay, my powerlifting meet, actually it was in LA that I picked my powerlifting meet. So my powerlifting meet's August 28th, and I picked that while I was actually in the airport leaving for LA.
Right on. That's
awesome. So going to LA, I was like, all right, I don't really need to be lean until August. Like I don't really need to be under 185 until August. So let's just enjoy it. So basically for the past couple months, I haven't been tracking macros. I've just been kind of eating whatever I want. And I mean, I follow an intermittent fasting lifestyle. Like that's just the way I always have, because it's what works for me. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying it's what works for me. So I don't normally eat until like 3 p.m. So like I still am not really eating anywhere. Like the most I might hit on a day is like 4,000 calories. Mm-hmm. Just because to eat within that time period, that many amount of calories is crazy. But my appetite's huge. So like I might hit 4,000 calories, I might hit 3,000 calories. I'm still floating around 200 pounds, but again, I don't have any need to cut until like 20 weeks out. I'll probably start cutting. So that's like in like a month from now. So that's the plan right now. But I made that decision going into LA. So
right.
I mean, post show, if you really want to hear what I felt terrible. Like that's the bottom line.
Let's dig into it. Like, so go post show. Were you tracking macros up until your show? Were you following a specific meal plan? Like what was?
I was tracking macros. So okay. I ended on show, like the day before the show was my last day of my macros. It was 120 carb, 200 protein, and 30 fat.
Wow.
Then I was, as well as 5 days of cardio, and lifting 5 days. It was brutal, man. It was brutal. I had no strength, but I was tracking macros. Then my day of my show, I loaded. I think I had 300 grams of carbs. Kept the fats pretty low. Kept the protein pretty low as well. It was mostly just carbs filling out. And then post show, I went out and I ate 4,000 calories in the span of 2 hours. Which, just so everybody knows, like I don't have a problem with that. I advocate the cheat meal post show because being that lean is not healthy. If you actually go and watch anything that the 3DMJ coaches say on post-show the recovery diet, I completely agree with what they say. If you can actually link that down below, I think it'll help a lot of competitors.
Let me write that down. I'll link it down below.
So it's not the reverse diet, it's the recovery diet. And I really do agree with that, because staying that lean after a show, now listen, you don't have to do what I did and gain 30 pounds, but gain a healthy 5 pounds after your show and just enjoy yourself. But the thing is people don't know how to stop, which is 100% my problem. I didn't know how to stop and slow down the eating, get back on the macros, and kind of transition into a lean bulk. I just kept going full tilt until, you know. But like, so post-show, if you can, just a little tip, eat until you've gained maybe 5 pounds and then get back on your macros. Hit your maintenance calories and work from there. Figure out what you need, but don't go balls to the wall crazy for like 3 months.
Right. It just it develops a bad relationship with food, and you don't want that. Like, you know, obviously, like you said, enjoy yourself, but you know, don't go mad crazy.
I mean, it's brutal. Like, it does change your relationship with food completely, and you're gonna experience this as well. You become food obsessed. Like, it's scary. It's almost like you lose the association of feeling full no matter how much you eat. So it doesn't become physical hunger anymore. Like, you don't get hunger pangs or whatever. Like, it's past that. It's psychological hunger. It's when you start eating, you can't stop, because your body's like, we don't know when we're going to get to eat again, because we've been starving ourselves for so long that we don't really know where the next meal's coming from. And it becomes this whole mind game. You really have to push through it. It's really difficult. That's why people say that the post-contest period is actually harder than the prep.
Well, I'll experience it on May 28th. So we'll see.
Yeah, you'll feel it.
We'll see. Well, I'm very curious because it's my first show, and I appreciate the tips, because you know, going into this is something brand new, and I want to learn as much as I can, and you know, if I ever do a future show, take that with me. So I'm gonna link that 3DMJ video down below, because I actually want to see that myself, because that sounds very interesting. So powerlifting meet in August. You chose in LA. What are your totals right now, and what is your total right now, and what is your goal total for the meet?
So the total that last time I checked was so I have a 410 squat. That was the last time I tested my squat. I haven't tested my squat in a long time. I have 455 deadlift, again down from the, and a